Coming up on Tekzilla, the ultimate lair for LAN parties, Chromebooks, and music and Android at home. It's Google I/O. Why are upload speeds so slow? HC Nation has seat-on tuner upgrades and a pair of affordable HDTVs, and we've got the usual pile of viewer questions. So rip open a bag of corn nuts and get your crunch on, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by GoToAssist Express. Support smarter with GoToAssist Express. HostGator web hosting and click it or ticket. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Robert Heron.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you've already got.
Hey, whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the monitor resolution most desperately wanted by Tekzilla hosts for their workstations, hey, we've got an answer for you.
If we can't even afford them.
2560 by 1600.
Yeah. If you know an inexpensive source of quality 30-inch flat panels for computer home use.
I was drooling on the NEC website. Oh. They have the best PC desktop. They still sell the 16 by 10 monitors.
Yeah.
That's really what I wanted. I didn't want a 16 by 9 monitor that everyone seems to be shifting toward. 16
you want
by
the
10.
extra 120 pixels, darn it.
I did.
Oh,
I
my
did.
Goodness. We understand some younger folks have been asking parents to explain what one of the most advanced acronyms in technology means. We are, of course, talking about fubar. John in Portage, Michigan was kind enough to explain, foolishly upgraded beyond all recovery.
That's awesome.
Thanks, John. On a newsy note, Microsoft dropped $8.5 billion to buy Skype from eBay, which means, frankly, I have no idea, although I pretty much expect Malik is right when he says the biggest reason to buy Skype from Microsoft is to get it on Windows Phone 7, so they've got a nice, friendly product to compete with Google Voice on Android and Apple's FaceTime on the iPhone and iOS.
I'm thinking we should also explain that POS stands for piece of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. In somewhat more important news, though, Google I/O was, well, Google I/O. The place where Google gets developers excited about debuting new stuff, like the Chrome Web Store, which is now in 41 languages. Yeah, makes a lot of people happy, I'm sure. And it supports in-app payments.
It's gone international.
I'm telling you, it stepped up. Not so exciting? Well, how about Chromebooks? Ooh. All day? I don't know. Chrome OS, Atom-powered, not exactly notebooks from Samsung and Asus, designed to boot in 8 seconds and resume instantly. Kind of like a notebook, only more useful, we hope.
Netbook.
Netbook?
Kind of like a netbook, but not, because it's the Chrome OS.
That's true.
Atom N570 processors, minimal RAM, small screen, 16 gigabytes SSD.
If it can boot up quick, I won't
seconds.
mind the weak CPU.
About as long as a championship bull rider has to stay on top of the animal. 8 seconds.
No, that's a different sport.
I'm ready. In any case, they're going to be sold at Amazon and Best Buy, and you'll be able to buy them June 15th. We're kind of curious about the free 100 megabytes of mobile data from Verizon that's bundled with the 3G versions. I'm also really curious. It's funny, they're like, anybody can log into any Chromebook. It's not a netbook, it's a Chromebook. Anybody can log into any Chromebook and automatically have access to their apps and their data because it's an always connected to the internet kind of machine, right?
Cool. So
you can set up accounts for all your family members. I'm just also curious to see what happens when you're out of range of the internet. You know, and you know, the CR48 kind of told us what was going on with the early experiments, but I want to see what the final kind of consumer version. If you want first crack at buying one, you can sign up to be notified when these items become available on the Amazon.
Nice.
Yeah, it's basically Samsung and Asus. Excuse me, Samsung and Acer. Pardon me, Acer. Samsung and Acer.
Cool. I'm hoping they have a good caching algorithm of some kind, so that if you do decide to go off the wire or off the net,
if you manage to get out of the internet range,
it has to be able to keep your data there somehow, or at least data that you select at least to say, hey, if I am ever out of range, make sure I can still access these files.
We will find out.
Yes.
Another I/O News home automation enthusiast. You know who you are. You're the ones with the ability to turn on the coffee pot from anywhere in the world that there's internet access. Or maybe your lights dim automatically as the curtains open when you hit the play button on the Blu-ray player. That's home automation. You're into that concept.
I like that kind of simplicity, so-called simplicity.
Well, Google's launched Android at home.
I know. It sounds nifty because Android is stupid popular, but frustrating for existing home automation users and the companies that support it, since it seems to be, well, outside of any existing standards like Zigbee and Z-Wave, two of the more popular ones. It's very early in the project, though Google said Lightning Science is the first partner.
Lighting Science. I think that's what they did, like their first demo
Lighting
was like
Science.
using the Android home router remote central box thing, the Android at home machine to dim lights. It all starts with the light.
Dim the lights, bring the screen down.
If anybody remembers the early days of Tech TV and the early days of a show called Fresh Gear, then you'll remember the legendary moment involving our CEO, Jim Louderback. Fresh Gear, light off! Or was it Fresh Gear, light on?
I just clap.
Yeah.
Yes!
The Android Open Accessory Development Kit is a big step towards bringing new gadgets to work with Android phones. It's like an Arduino system for experimenting with controlling accessories for Android devices.
I'm happy that Google's stepping into this space. Anything to help expand it and make it a little more accessible for more people? I like that a lot.
You just want your curtains to close and the lights to dim when you hit the Blu-ray player.
I do. more control. Can I just run around and, never mind. Hey, and Ford, well, they said they'd be using Google's prediction API to try to make cars more fuel efficient and smarter. The API, quote, the API accesses Google's machine learning algorithms to analyze your historic data and predicts likely future outcomes. Hey now. Speaking of which, the New York Times says, and I quote, Google, a pioneer of self-driving cars, is quietly lobbying for legislation that would make Nevada the first state where they could be legally operated on public roads. Figures Nevada would be there. And yes, proposed legislation would include an exemption from the ban on distracted driving to allow occupants to send text messages while sitting behind the wheel.
But officer, my Google smart car was driving.
This is technology that's it's almost here, and I really cannot wait to have, I want to hold out and not buy another car until I can get a car that drives itself.
I have this vision of you
decade.
taking 95 from Reno down to Vegas on the way to DEF CON, like sitting in the sunroof of the car. Yeah. or in the sunroof of the car with a gun.
Oh, please.
And if that doesn't freak you out, the whole cars driving themselves in the state of Nevada, how about this little tidbit from the Baltimore Sun? Every 6 hours, the NSA collects an amount of information equivalent to the store of knowledge housed at the Library of Congress. And I thought I had storage issues.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary.
We have a certain telco provider here in the city that's helping out with all that data. So
you can read more about that in the link to Maryland-based intelligence agencies help track bin Laden. We got that in the show notes.
Hey now.
Hey.
It's time for our first question. Peter writes in, I was wondering why upload speeds are so much slower than download speeds. I know they can be just as good, so what stops them from being as high? Is there any way of boosting your upload speeds without changing your ISP? Thanks and keep up the good work. Signed, Peter.
Asymmetric tradition, baby! Mostly it's about scarcity, as in on most networks, bandwidth is scarce, especially like your cable modem network. It's like an Ethernet network in your office. There's only so much bandwidth, the more people using it. Basically, the more crowded it gets and the slower it gets for everybody.
Do you think it's that, or is it more of them just wanting to prevent abuse on their network?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, until recently, most users only cared about downloading music, maybe the occasional web page.
Relatively small amounts of data.
And not, say, backing up terabytes of data. So by capping upload speeds, which is done in your DOCSIS modem, it's automatically configured there. If you hack it, it's a crime. They're going to shut off your cable.
Even if I own it?
Don't even get me started. It's theft. It's clearly explained somewhere in the pages of the EULA you didn't read.
I know.
ISPs basically score a double win. Less bandwidth to support customers with, so more customers on less hardware, and you prevent people from hosting a server at home or making that person that needs to upload an 8 terabyte video file every week to move to commercial hosting.
That's it. It's to prompt you to upgrade your service to something either commercial grade or beyond.
Exactly.
Wow.
Look, you might not have to change your ISP to get faster upload speeds. They generally offer faster upload speeds as you pay for faster download speeds. You'll still be far from symmetric, i.e. your uploads and downloads will not be equal. So as you go from like 15 megabit service to 60 megabit service, your upload speed may go from like 768K to 1.5 megabits.
You can also think too of some of the caching they do for customer accounts, where the ISPs will traditionally cache popular data on their network locally in a sense, and then feed that to you very quickly without having to go out to the internet as a whole and pull that data in. And that can help a lot. And you think the other way around, where you have files you want to send up, that's going to be a pretty unique data transfer experience. There's really no way to cache that, and then that kind of is where unique amounts of data or unique parts of data are being uploaded, and that requires I think that's what they try to limit.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you know, whether it's a DSL company or a cable company or, you know, most companies don't want to give you the opportunity to host a big fat server in your house.
They want you to feed, not to serve.
Yes.
Without paying more.
I think it makes sense. Yeah, you know, look, if you write a check, it can be an incredibly painful, especially if you want like symmetrical upload and download speeds. That gets expensive.
Yeah, but for large households or a group of folks, check out the business plans that are available from your provider. It may not be much more to get a nice bump in speed.
Yeah.
So, especially if you need it.
We found out with the Comcast stuff, you would remove the cap, but you would pay a $200 flat fee to get it turned on in your house.
There might be a way around that.
There might be.
Check
Time to thank one of our sponsors, HostGator. If you're looking for a place to launch a blog or a website, if you're frustrated with customer support at your current hosting provider, do us a favor, check out HostGator. They'll get you up and running in minutes. They've got plans starting at just $4.95 a month. You'll get top-rated 24/7 customer support, access to tools including a website built with over 4,000 templates, and HostGator, they'll even migrate your current site for free. HostGator servers are 130% powered by wind energy. It is completely green web hosting. You'll get unlimited disk space, unlimited bandwidth, a 45-day money-back guarantee, and $100 in Google AdWords credit to market your website. And right now, if you're a Revision 3 viewer, HostGator is going to offer you 25% off your order or your first month for free. Go to HostGator.com and enter the code TekzillaHD at checkout to get your discount. Please support Tekzilla by supporting our sponsors like HostGator. Time to get our HC Nation on. The good folks at Ceton. Well, software update to the Infinity V4 tuner. Which I can't believe you took this out of your home theater PC and brought it in here.
It's a spare, actually.
You have two?
I do. I'm looking to put them both into one home theater PC.
So I shouldn't just... Actually, it wouldn't do me any good anyway because I don't have freaking cable TV.
There you go. It is a cable TV tuner. And it's a quad tuner cable card that pretty much is the only one I'm aware of available for PCs right now anyway. And they have a 6-tuner card coming out later on. But anyway, they had a new update, the software update, and that was for adding network tuner support to this particular card, which is great. Essentially, according to the company's press release, this up to 4 PCs can each receive live HDTV cable programming from a single card just like that one. And up to 6 TVs could be supported by the company's upcoming Infinity TV 6 card.
So it makes it very similar to the Silicon Dust products that have been out there for a while, the Home Run.
Exactly. Yeah. What they do for over-the-air reception, they're now doing, well, at least the good folks at Ceton are doing for the Infinity TV4 and doing that over the network.
Did you download the software and install it on your home machine?
I did.
Did it work?
Worked pretty darn well, actually.
Because sometimes you're like, no, it didn't work.
And when you're messing with cable cards and you're worried about things becoming unpaired, where you actually have to call the cable card or call the cable company and make sure everything's. I did not want to deal with that, but didn't have to.
Let me make this clear. The software upgraded successfully. It did not cause problems with the cable card.
Not at all.
Way to go.
Loaded it up on 2 different computers. Actually, the host computer, my home theater PC, loaded it up on there. The software confirms the presence of the tuner and what networking options I wanted. Basically, you can select if you're using, if you have more than one network option on your computer, it says which one do you want to use for streaming this content and connecting to the other computers in your local network.
Did it actually modify the display in Windows Media Center, or?
It does actually. Well, the very first thing you'll see is it pops up this. It adds an icon that says network tuner right into there, and then that's on. I was doing that on the main host PC that's running Windows 7, of course, and I got that loaded up. Switched over to the notebook, loaded the software up on there, saw that it was basically leaving that card for me, and boom, I was able to basically take one of the 4 tuners that were on here and assign that to another computer, which is great.
So you could actually use it on your notebook over the Ethernet network or the wireless network in your house.
Totally. So while I left the home theater PC with 3 of the 4 tuners for doing multiple channel recording and things like that, I said, you know what, dedicate one to the notebook, and I could have dedicated more than one to different computers in the house, but I just said, just give one to the notebook, and then I can have that literally walking around watching the ball game last night.
So basically, instead of having, say, multiple cable boxes in your house, you could use the Infinity TV to direct streams to multiple devices in your house.
Yes.
That's really cool.
See, now I'm thinking you could literally have one super box with, say, 2 of those in it with 8 tuners then total, and then divvy out those tuners however you want. I think you're probably better off sticking to a number like 3 tuners or so per computer.
It took forever for you to get the Infinity TV card in, and it did for everyone else. It took them forever to ship it.
Did.
Are they shipping freely now?
Yes, actually. They just announced in their press release, along with the new software update, they said that they've not only fulfilled all the orders that were on back order, they're now actually offering the card on Amazon. So
cool.
Yet another option. If you can't get it through one of the other providers, go right to Amazon.com and pick it up there.
If you are looking for the ultimate experience for your home theater PC running Windows Media Center, oh, it is so sleek. Not sleek enough to get me to go back to subscribing to cable, but it's really, if I had cable, I would
understand. That you have to have that leap in place before you can make the jump.
Martin wrote in with a question we've been getting from a lot of viewers about 21 by 9 HDTVs. Hey, Rob, Pat, and Vera, or is it Ronnie? So I'm very keen on the idea of a 21 by 9 TV. I want to say 29 by 9, a 21 by 9 TV. I currently have the LG 60-inch PS8000. My concern is that although I will be rid of the black bars above and below most movies, will the picture be zoomed to fit the 21 by 9 aspect ratio, causing a loss of the sides of the image? Thank you for all the hard work that goes into making Tekzilla, Martland.
I will say, you know what? Just slightly. Because actually, 21 by 9, if you do the math, it's what, 2.33 or so?
Yeah,
and most movies are 2.35 to 2.39.
Or 1.85.
It's pretty darn close. So you're not losing a lot of scaling.
You have a choice,
not losing a lot of
either
picture.
like an inch or a quarter inch of black at the top and bottom, or clipping a little tiny bit off the far, far edges of the movie.
I think for this, though, I would rather it just scale it perfectly to the top and the bottom so you get the full maximum. You might lose just a tiny bit on the sides, but not enough to where I'm going to lose sleep over it.
Because I'm going to want the black on the top and bottom, so I know I have all the original frame.
That's true.
But I'm a freak.
Until you do front projection, and then you have the true 21. You could do 21 by 9 that way as well, or 235 to 1, or however. But the nice thing is there's a couple of manufacturers now poised, if not already shipping 21 by 9 aspect ratio sized screens.
Right.
Philips, I think, was the first. They've had a TV out for a while now in Europe, and it's coming now to the US, I want to say later this year. I think it's a 50-inch design soon. And Vizio is the other big company. They announced one at CES. It looks awesome. I can't wait to actually get one in. Hopefully, I'm hoping...
It's going to be an awesomely big box, too.
It's going to be a long box, because it's a wide display.
Right.
And I'm hoping that will ship hopefully before fall. I'm hoping in the middle of summer.
It's going to be really interesting to kind of get these home and play around with them, because they're essentially, 21 by 9 is designed to have full cinematic aspect ratio movie presentation.
Totally.
Right? And if
without the black bars.
If 90% of what you watch is 16 by 9 television, you're going to end up with either big black bars on either side of your episode of Glee, or you're going to have either that, or they're going to put like additional applications or feeds, or
most likely
who knows what's going to be going on the.
I wonder if they'll even have like a split screen mode where you have like two pseudo 16 by 9 displays. That would be pretty cool. I would like that.
Eagerly to get our eyeballs and hands on them.
Bring them on!
What's on the lab bench this week? Obviously, you've been testing televisions again.
Yeah, a couple of LCDs. I'm looking at some lower cost LCDs. Basically, I have one from Panasonic and Samsung, two edge-lit designs. Try to keep them somewhat similar here. LED LCD televisions, to be exact. Have the $990 42-inch Panasonic TC L42E30. It's part of the company's 2011 E-Series LCD. And we have the 46-inch Samsung UN46 D6300, a D6300 series TV that has an online price of about just under $1,300. Now, both TVs feature 1080p screen resolution, 120 hertz refresh rates, 4 HDMI ports, and internet and network multimedia streaming services, including DLNA support. Now, in terms of panel depth, both are fairly thin. 1.7 inches for the L42E30 from Panasonic, and 1.2 inches for the D6300. That additional half inch of thinness that Samsung achieved with the D6300 doesn't leave much room for HDMI ports. Forget using really thick cables with that TV in particular. They do it as parallel to the back of the screen, and there is not a lot of tolerance for thick cables there. Otherwise, you'd be bending it trying to get it in there, and it makes me nervous just doing that. Samsung also includes a fully backlit remote compared to the non-fully backlit version that Panasonic actually offers. Also, if you have a smartphone, either Android or iOS-based device, you can download an app from the Samsung and have that as a remote control for your TV, which I actually like having that as a secondary remote. Just kind of nice. Brightness uniformity, how uniform the brightness is on the whole picture across from corner to corner with the edge-lit LCDs like I have behind me. it's difficult, and I have to give the edge to Panasonic in this case, as the illumination across the screen surface was actually fairly even, with some minor what they call flashlighting artifacts noted in the corners. If you sit in a dark room and look at the screen, each corner almost looks like there's somebody with a tiny little flashlight pointing in, and kind of that brightness pattern. That's what people are referring to. Saw the same thing on Samsung's D6300. However, there was also some blotches, just uneven blotchiness when displaying a dark gray or a fully black background. Now, looking at the test results generated using the CalMan software package, the L42E30's default picture setting was below average, with the gamut results, basically for the primary and secondary color measurements, being further off the mark than I'd like to see. Now, post-calibration, the L42E30 wasn't much better. Now, without user-accessible white balance controls, I had no way of bringing the set's red, blue, and green color mixing in line with the HDTV standard. Now, Panasonic does provide a white balance control in the TV's hidden service menu, but the controls for improving the accuracy of primary and secondary colors is just not there. Now, contrast that with the D6300, and its color gamuts right out of the box were almost perfect. The color temperature, aka RGB balancing, aka white balancing, it was too warm or too red. However, the D6300's picture controls included a 2 or a 10-point white balance control, as well as full color management. Now, the D6300 also provides RGB color modes and a couple of test patterns for the DIYers out there, so you won't need, like, say, the blue glasses or anything like that. Right. The filter glasses that you normally use a pattern like this to set color or tint controls. Cool. Actually just turn on the blue mode, and that's even a better way to do it, and use one of the built-in test patterns, and boom, you're good to go. The bottom line, the Panasonic TCL32E40 is a terrific value, no doubt about it, for 120 Hz 1080p LCD technology. And because the panel uses what they call IPS-based LCD technology, the viewing angles tend to be more consistent in terms of color quality and brightness than other panels or other panel technologies. However, if you want better picture quality right out of the box, the D6300 from Samsung delivered it, and its superior picture controls helped justify the extra cost.
It's been kind of amazing to watch, especially over the last year or two, how high the quality of the picture has gotten on 42 and 46-inch flat panels for what would, you know what I mean, $1,000?
That and the video processing has improved dramatically. We used to always worry about, oh, how's it going to make, is it processing all the detail out of the signal that I'm feeding it?
Right.
That's not to say that they're all perfect, but they're a heck of a lot better than they used to be. And it's also for the internet-enabled features, too. Both of these TVs can connect to the internet or your local network, can run software updates. I give a slight advantage to Samsung because they've been doing their app store a little bit longer, but if you're really into the apps, both TVs have a good selection of apps, including music and video services, so, and DLNA support, so it's all there.
It's pretty crazy to see how far they've come in the last few years.
I'm loving it.
Blu-ray releases.
Let's do it. Hey, it's now time for the new Blu-ray releases for the week of May 17, 2011. First up, Beverly Hills Cop. This 1984 film stars Eddie Murphy as a cop who moves from Detroit to Beverly Hills to solve his friend's murder. This release is region-free and comes on a single dual-layer Blu-ray 50GB disc with an AVC MPEG-4 AVC codec, a 1.78:1 aspect ratio, and a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 soundtrack. Despite being 27 years old, all three of our favorite review sites, Blu-ray.com, High Def Digest, and High Def Disc News, all agree that this is a solid, though not amazing transfer. Film grain is apparent, detail is good, and black levels are solid. Extras on this disc include a director's audio commentary, a 30-minute behind-the-scenes featurette, a 10-minute look at the casting process, an 8-minute featurette about the film's award-winning score, and a location map, which lets you choose from 7 locations from the film and learn more about them from production designer Angelo P. Graham. Next up, The Hustler 50th Anniversary Edition. This 1961 film is based upon a book of the same name and stars Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason as 2 gambling pool players. This release comes in a digibook form and includes DTS HD 5.1 Master Audio sound. Extras on this disc include those available on the previous DVD releases, like an audio commentary with Paul Newman, a trick shot analysis, a 24-minute behind-the-scenes featurette, an additional 12-minute behind-the-scenes featurette, a 10-minute clip about the pool hustling scene, a 43-minute feature from the biography channel about Paul Newman, and a few shorts from award-winning trick shot artist Mike Massey. This release also includes 3 documentaries that have never been released before, one on Paul Newman, one on Jackie Gleason, and one on the author of the book that the film was based on. Also released this week, Deep Red. This is a 1975 Italian horror mystery film written and directed by Dario Argento, and it's gotten an astounding 100% on the Rotten Tomato meter. The video comes in a 235:1 aspect ratio with an MPEG-4 AVC codec. This film is available in the original Italian cut with Italian audio, which runs 126 minutes. But it also includes the American cut, which shaves 20 minutes off the original with English audio. Each cut offers 3 audio tracks: DTS HD Master Audio 7.1, Dolby Digital 5.1, or a mono track. Extras include 10 minutes of interviews with Dario Argento and his co-writer, as well as the band Goblin, who composed and performed the soundtrack. You also get 2 music videos and both the US and Italian trailers. And as always, check out our show notes at tekzilla.com or hdnation.tv for the rest of this week's Blu-ray releases. It's time to thank one of our sponsors, Go to Assist Express. I'm here to tell you about a tool that will help you save time and money and make you look like a hero to clients or colleagues. Go to Assist Express by Citrix. It helps you easily resolve computer issues in real time or after hours. You can even work while your customers are away from their computers, dramatically boosting your productivity. In fact, on average, Go to Assist Express users report a 40% increase in productivity. That's like getting 2 extra work days back each week. Tekzilla viewers can try Go to Assist Express free for 30 days. For the special offer, visit gotoassist.com/Tekzilla. That's gotoassist.com/Tekzilla for a free trial.
It's that time of the month again. Lloyd Case is back in the studio right here to answer some of your toughest questions about PCs and PC gaming. But before we begin, I believe, well, actually, Sean says, I want to see it. He wrote in rather emphatically, I can't take any more of Patrick hyping this room without any pictures. I need to see Lloyd's LAN party room. So, are you willing to show the general public the LAN party room?
Sure, but they got to understand, that's my workspace. I mean, it's my lab, right? It's not just for gaming, really, honestly?
Well, you also, I mean, you're the rare person. You benchmark cards, you live and breathe and suffer benchmarking using real games on real hardware, and
I have this space that I can use for gaming, an
extensive testing environment to validate multiplayer game. Right. I'm not going to say it, man. It's an amazing
performance.
Space.
Anyway, yeah, I mean, I have a daylight basement, which is kind of rare in California, but you start by going down the stairs, right? You see this floating fish, and down there you see a bookshelf. You get close to the bookshelf, you see a bunch of board games. We're sort of almost there. You make a left turn. There's the doorway, which is this weird sign, which I couldn't resist putting up.
It's your secret cave.
It's my secret lair, yes. It's my, what is it? Anyway. Once you open the door and kind of turn to the right, you see all the wall of books, right? There's all kinds of books there. Military history, gaming books, actual games, source books for RPGs, more board games, all that kind of stuff. You see on the top shelf, if you can kind of see the top, a lot of hardware that's stored there in boxes. You rotate and you can see my windows. I do have windows since this is daylight basement. And then you start to see the PCs and the LCD monitors, right? You move a little further to the left and you actually see my test rack. I mean, rack is not the right word, but test tables. Right. Sort of alongside my tables are all the systems I use for product testing, review, testing, benchmarking, all that jazz. And then you see my system with 3 monitors and all the other stuff above it and the messy desk, and, you know. Then you go a little further to the left and you see my storage area, and please don't look at the floor. That's right. I shoveled all my stuff in there from my office so I could show the office off and take pictures.
I was wondering how I'd never actually seen the desk in your office before until that picture.
Well, you've seen the desk, not just with stuff on it.
It is an amazing space. Should we fire up some viewer questions?
Let's go.
First one comes from Brenton, who wonders, are there any advantages or disadvantages to Sandy Bridge's integrated graphics being paired with a real GPU? For desktops in particular, will the on-die graphics processing help with warding off bottlenecking? Will it help at all in a discrete GPU? Let's say my Sapphire Radeon 5970 is present. Thanks, love the show, Brenton and University of Michigan, Flint.
Okay, until Intel shipped the Z68 chipset, which just shipped this week, by the way, if you put a discrete card in like a P67 motherboard, you couldn't get you couldn't use the integrated graphics at all. Right. Even if the motherboard, like the H67 boards, had discrete graphics support, once you put that integrated graphics support, once you put that discrete card in, it turned off the IGP.
It just and it's kind of funny because the whole idea of like, hey, we're going to keep the low power onboard graphics around. It's a very recent phenomenon.
Yeah, and Z68 fixes that. You can run them. You can't run them in parallel. They don't add to each other's performance. It's not like Crossfire or something like that. But what it can do is it can switch on and off. So you can run it in low power mode if you just want to drive your graphics and just doing desktop stuff, right, not gaming. Or if you want to use the IGP for things like video transcoding, because it's got an insanely good video engine. But beyond that, yeah, it works great. Z68 also does some other cool stuff, including SSD caching. So you can have a small SSD, caches your hard drive. Great stuff.
Z68 is looking really, really good. Doug emailed asking, I'm currently planning to build a new desktop PC. The main use is media creation. I work with Premiere, Photoshop, After Effects, and Blender. I play a few games, but nothing that requires huge amounts of 3D rendering. Here's my current system specs I'm planning. A Z68 motherboard, Core i5-2500K, 8 gigs of memory. My major question is about the video card. I'm thinking about the NVIDIA Quattro FX 580. Any thoughts on what would be best for my needs, Doug?
If you want to use that GPU for doing compute stuff, not just showing graphics on the screen, but you actually want to do it for, like, Premiere Pro, for example, supports transcoding using an NVIDIA card, right? You probably want to step up a little bit. The number of shader units in that 580 is pretty
Don't confuse price with overall performance.
That's right. Well, the Quattro 2000 is a little more expensive. It's like a $1,000 card. It might do better for what he needs. If that's a little too rich for his blood, Adobe actually supports the GTX 570, which is a consumer card, about a $350 card for doing that kind of stuff. So you might look at that as an alternative. Uses a little more power, but it'll be a better solution if that's what he really wants to do. Also, on the CPU side, just real quick, I'd go with the 2600K if I could, just because if I am doing CPU type stuff for transcoding, if I have to do that, having more threads is a good thing.
Always a good thing. Rick asks, I'm going to be building a new gaming PC in a couple of months. I'm toying with the idea of a triple monitor setup. Could you recommend a good gaming monitor with as thin a bezel as possible in the 24 to 27 inch range? Also, any advice you can give on triple monitor stands would be greatly appreciated. The system will be based around an i7 Sandy Bridge with Crossfire ATI cards, and I give myself a budget of around £3,000 for the whole build. Thanks for any help you can give with this project. Rick in Guernsey in the Channel Islands.
Wow, we'll get fans in the Channel Islands.
It's awesome.
You must have broadband there. You know, Gigabyte's shipping some Z68 boards with the Enforce 200 chipset. What that means is that you can get complete 16-lane graphics slots on 2 slots, not just 1.
Nice.
And so you can do your SLI thing if you want to do that. If he wants a real triple monitor setup, Samsung, and he wants to spend the money, Samsung makes a really sweet setup. You buy all 3 monitors at once. These are good quality PVA panels too. They're not TN panels. And they're really thin bezels and a special stand that's all made to mount together. It's pretty cool stuff. But they're $1,500 US.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of funny though. If you look at, like, you know, you can spend almost $1,500 buying a 30-inch, you know, because I keep thinking, like, I want a 2560 by 1600 monitor. Oh boy, it's only $1,400 this month. So it's almost like $1,500 for all that screen real estate. It's really
well, if you want that sort of wraparound effect, I guess that's pretty neat.
Have you seen any? It seems like most of the sort of triple head monitor stands, as long as you actually correctly attach them to the wall or the desk, are pretty solid. Have you seen any ones that scare
you can find them. Yes, I mean, some of the older ones are not very well. You can find ones that will mount 3 monitors. The problem is he wants thin bezels, and there are very few of those. LG makes a few thin bezel monitors, but they're not as thin as those Samsung 23-inchers, which, by the way, you can buy separately at 1 at a time. You don't have to buy them in the fancy stand, but then you're stuck with, you know, use 3 individual
2 stocks holding up.
Right.
I don't know. But how about hacking? You know, cracking the
monitor
cases open.
If you're good with a screwdriver, and I don't know about drilling holes in monitor cases.
Where's your sense of adventure? So the worst thing you do is destroy 3 monitors. Finally, Mike has got a quick question. He writes in, how well does a PCI Express 2.0 graphics card perform in a PCI Express 1.0 slot compared to, well, putting it in a 2.0 slot?
If you're just talking about one graphics card, not a big deal. You know, you're not going to eat up the bandwidth, really, for modern games. If he wants to do SLI or Crossfire and he's doing 2 cards, that's when you want to think about moving to a PCI Express 2.0 motherboard.
The potential of getting snug starts to hit there.
Well, it's not even that. It's just a matter of the bandwidth. Of course, if you're doing 2 or 3 cards, you start to worry about how big your case is and whether the cooling is good enough. But
and whether your power supply can handle it.
Right. But really, bandwidth becomes an issue if you do more than 1 card. If you're just doing 1 card, I wouldn't worry too much about it right now. They are backwards compatible.
Lloyd, awesome information as always. Question for you, what's coming up from you that we should keep an eye out for?
Well, I just wrote some lightweight coverage of the, I say lightweight because it was really the day-end wrap of the Google I/O conference.
I was going to say, are we talking about Chromebooks?
No, yes, right, lightweight in that sense.
Sorry.
And I'm doing a bunch of laptop things for PC World. Plus, I'm doing some stuff for GamePro now as well. So.
I got to ask you, we were talking about it earlier in the show, but I'm going to ask you, what do you think of the Chromebook?
I think for people who think netbooks are enough, the Chromebook is probably the right answer. I'm not sure I'd want to use it for everyday work, though.
Lloyd Case, Maximum PC, is one of the best places to find him, although you can always find him at improbableinsights.com. That's his website. At Lloyd Case is his Twitter address. Lloyd's going to be back next month, so if you got a question you want Lloyd to answer, email us, tekzilla@revision3.com with Lloyd Case in the subject line, or you can send him a tweet at Lloyd Case. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
It's time to thank one of our sponsors, Click It or Ticket. Guys, it's a fact. Men your age are less likely than women to buckle up. That's stupid. Nearly 75% of male passengers 18 to 34 killed in passenger vehicles not wearing their seatbelts. Dumb, especially at night. 2/3 of people who die in accidents at night are not buckled up. You may be a safe driver, but you do not know who is out there. You'd have to be stupid not to wear your seatbelt. Look, the police are going to be out in force leading up to Memorial Day weekend. Hundreds of state and local law enforcement and highway safety officials across the nation will participate in Click It or Ticket 2011 from May 16th to the 30th. They will be looking for you day and night and making sure that everyone is buckled up. Do yourself a favor, save your own life and a few bucks while you're at it. Matter of fact, save the lives of everyone in your car. Make them buckle up, people. Click It or Ticket. We want to see you next week.
Hey, for anyone trying to get a project off the ground, the biggest hurdle is usually the funding.
Could you do it for 100?
Maybe. Maybe. What are we talking about exactly? Hey, that's where the website Kickstarter comes in. Anybody can create a web page for their project and describe how much it would cost to bring it to life. People can then support that project by giving money in return for various rewards, depending on the price level. But the catch is that your money doesn't actually reach the person unless their predetermined total amount is reached. And if they do reach their goal, you can then follow the project and watch it develop.
It's a pretty wild concept. Somebody like, I want to make a widget. I think this widget would be cool. Can I get enough people who also think this widget would be cool to basically prepay to make making the widget in volume possible? Check this out. This is a phone stand called the Una. And part of the reason we brought this up is A, we've never started about Kickstarter before, and B, it's made by a former intern here at Revision 3, Danny Fukuba. It's reconfigurable, so it can be a simple stand, or you can use the two suction cups and fix it to any smooth surface, or you can use it to mount your phone to any standard tripod. They've already reached their funding goal, but you can still support the project and get an Una for yourself for 25 bucks before it officially goes on sale for 30 bucks. And by the way, browse the website. There are some fascinating projects on there that you may think are worth investing in.
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, it's not like it's a lot of money. It's like 10 bucks here, 50 bucks there.
And if you're good at crafting something too, this could be a way to see the popularity of it. And if it's popular enough and people are responding to it, get it out there.
You need to design the Robert Heron home theater cleaning system.
Yes.
We're going to be rich.
I've told people how to do that cheaply already. There might not be a lot of money there. Clean water and microfiber cloths. Well,
it's just that simple.
Give you a bag of water and a cloth for $5. Never. I'll put my plan together.
Have monkey's breath.
Put it on the Kickstarter website.
A while back, a viewer named Jessica wrote in asking which bitrate she should use to rip her music so that she can listen to it on her new Windows Phone 7. She'd never encoded her CDs before. Veronica and I gave our suggestions for a good bitrate to balance file size and audio quality, but viewer Nathan, he's got a better option. He writes in, simply use Lossless. The Zune software can house Windows Media Lossless on your PC while automatically transcoding during sync to your devices. Under device setting, you can tell it which bitrate to convert to for each device. This not only saves storage space on your devices, but decreases sync time when using wireless sync. The lossless audio files in your PC will remain untouched. Having the original Windows Media Lossless files stored on your PC also gives you the ability to switch to Apple Lossless or FLAC without losing audio quality in the future. Nathan is Bismarck, North Dakota. Awesome. Also something I wish they, I'm hoping like at some point I'm going to go to iTunes, and it's actually, the iTunes software will actually let me select the transcoding option for my iPhone or my other devices.
Well, if you're ripping your own CDs, you can select.
No.
But I'm buying from the iTunes store.
No, because like what he's saying is like you can rip your stuff to lossless, and then when you sync with your phone or your Zune, it'll automatically, basically transcode everything to the settings you chose.
Gotcha.
In iTunes, you can do that, except that there's one relatively low resolution setting that Apple chose.
And I'm one of those weirdos that just dumps lossless right onto my portable device anyway.
The problem is you can only fit so many albums.
I can only hold 1,000 songs instead of 5,000.
Yeah, well, I need more memory on my iPhone. Well, Robert was out of town last week. We talked to him about using 3D glasses over regular prescription glasses.
Like I do.
It occurred to us that he's the only one of us who actually wears glasses on a regular basis, except for Roger, who doesn't look at 3D. But let's ask you, any problems? You've spent a lot more time viewing 3D with the goggles on over the glasses. Any suggestions for pain-free 3D viewing? Do you get headaches?
No.
Do you have nausea
You know what?
issues?
I don't see the flicker that a lot of people also mention too on the liquid crystal shutter glasses compared to the passive glasses either. I find if you do wear glasses, the lighter weight glasses tend to feel better because they're not putting as much weight on your nose. If you have, depending on the frame design, you might want to get one that has some feature. I believe it's Panasonic's glasses feature adjustable nose pieces so that you can get an extension that raises the lens up higher or lower depending on how much distance you need from your bridge of your nose up to where your eyes are centered. Trying to think of anything else. No, overall, I find that most of the glasses I've tried on will fit right over most of my glasses that I've worn.
You have fairly narrow frames too.
I have a pretty wide head though, so what I've noticed though, I was
mean,
trying.
Like your eyeglasses aren't really your eyes. You know what I mean?
True.
Your lenses aren't over your eyebrows.
No, I don't have like the Giganto hide me
Lady
glasses.
Gaga.
Yeah, there you go.
Lenses.
I have found though that with some of the frames I've tried on lately, when I do put them on, the arms of the glasses.
Sorry, I'm seeing you in like Lady Gaga outfit all of a sudden, which is a really funny image.
It's my Halloween outfit right there.
I was just saying about recent pairs of 3D glasses you tried
they'll hit
on.
the nose right, but then I find that the arms of the glasses don't go back over my ears far enough. So
that's no good.
Then it becomes more of, are they gripping the sides of my head tight enough? That's kind of annoying. So I've asked most of these manufacturers too. It's like, well, what will it cost me to get custom lenses for something like that? And I haven't seen an answer because I don't think many companies are doing it with active shutter glasses. Now, passive frames, you're definitely going to have a lot more options for getting custom glasses made, and it'll be a lot cheaper to do because one, you're not dealing with an active piece of electronics sitting on your head rather than just basically a circular polarization film on each lens. And they've already demonstrated you can buy custom lenses for those types of glasses today. We even showed off a pair of Oakleys not too long ago. Now, granted, those were on the high end, but you could spend whatever you want on frames. So that's another advantage I'd throw toward the side for passive technology. However,
we just need brighter televisions.
That and also like just full resolution on the content I'm watching. That's the other big downside for using passive. And the glasses are lighter. And
so basically, you're saying so far you haven't had 3D headaches.
No.
Try adjusting your glasses so that they are as high on the bridge of your nose as possible.
Totally. You know what? It helps if you can really try on the glasses. So if you're shopping for your first 3D TV, make sure you actually try on the glasses, especially if you wear frames, wear prescription glasses frequently, or you have to wear them. Because you just want to make sure that, especially for the expensive glasses, you want to make sure that they actually do fit your head before you actually walk out of the store and spend your money on something that may or may not work. Or if you have to go buy a pair of glasses that do fit, you're looking for the active frames. $150 or so, depending on, well, there will be some announcements coming up actually for active frames that are being significantly cheaper, but until that time comes.
Hold off for as long as possible.
It's tough.
It is.
I love wearing glasses too.
Especially if you want to watch like Avatar over and over and over and over and over again.
I just got the 3D version of Avatar on Blu-ray.
How much did you pay for it?
Nothing, but.
I don't want to know that.
No, it was a parting gift, but I immediately went on eBay to see how much people are charging for that thing.
You're so.
It's $80 on eBay. Yeah.
That's down. It was 150
was
a few
it?
weeks ago.
I think it's getting close to. They know the studio release is coming soon.
Do you want to know where to scalp the hot new 3D Blu-rays? A question about bit rates, eyewear, RAID configurations, how to back up your data, which HDTV to buy? If it's a question about tech or a comment about the little dudes on the set behind me, do us a favor, send us in. Actually, send your question in, don't send us in. Send your question to Tekzilla@revision3.com. That's the email address, or you can post it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Tekzilla.
Hey, and of course, we're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TechHD, TEKHD. And Twitter, @Tekzilla, @Robert Heron, @Patrick Norton, @Veronica.
Robert Heron.
Yeah. Hey, and thank you so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton, and I can't point.
I'm Robert Heron.
Until next time, you've been watching Tekzilla. Oh, yeah, you and Lady Gaga. Pretty funny image.
Lady Gaga, huh? Oh. One person.
Not subconscious. I'm feeling self-conscious.
Subconscious?
Hi.
I'm
I have a
subconscious.
degree in the study of English literature and language. So I was so busy trying to figure out what you were pointing at, I didn't realize you were pointing to the... It's like, what is he? Are you okay? Medic, we need a medic for Stu! So rip open a bag of corn nuts and get your crunch on, because Tekzilla starts now.
Meow.
In 3, 2...
Need cash for new gadgets? Gazelle can get you money for your old gear when you upgrade. Shipping is free on all items of value, and in most cases, they'll even send you a box to ship with. Whether you're upgrading to an iPhone, a new Android device, or other tech gear, Gazelle is a great way to get cash to upgrade to the latest tech. Check it out at gazelle.com.